On Friday, the 19th of December 2025, something absolutely incredible happened that has changed my life. This episode is the tea about my engagement, the proposal, and everything that happened. I'm actually on the way to the airport, so let's get into it.
Welcome to the What's Eating You podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Giorgio, and I'm a clinical psychologist.
Today I have with me two very special guests, my fiancé and also my good friend Winnie. If it wasn't for Winnie, this proposal, honestly, they worked as such a team, and we're going to share the story today. So I'll tell you it from my perspective, and then I'm going to get Winnie and my fiancé to maybe share their perspective. Leading up to this day 2 weeks ago, I was under the impression, because my friend Winnie had told me that she has big news. And she said, I've booked a Christmas dinner for all of us friends to go. It'll be so nice, but I want to meet you and one of the other girls, Sam, first to tell you some news. This whole time, the last 2 weeks, I've been racking my brain. I thought she was going overseas. I knew that she really wanted to move to LA, and it just made sense. She was saying she loves the culture over there and the vibe, and there's a lot of public speaking gigs. So in my mind, I thought, oh my God, she's moving and she's going to tell us that it's happening. So waiting for this event, and she made a plan, said, let's all wear white to the dinner, let's get photos. And you know me, I love to take a snap. So taking photos is nothing new for me. I was just like, yeah, sick, let's take pictures. So I thought, yeah, I'll just wear this white dress and it'll all be good. I'll start getting ready. The day arrives and it is a normal work day. I am working in the morning and then I'm getting ready in the afternoon. I had these eyelashes I wanted to try, had my new blow wave I wanted to try, and it was all going smoothly. And my friend had come over, a different friend, to get ready with me because she was also looking at an apartment in the building where we live in. So we're getting ready and I said, let's get ready a bit earlier so we can go take some photos on level 3. Level 3 in our apartment where we live is a really beautiful communal area. It's quite private and it's really nice to take photos. So I'm supposed to meet Winnie, my good friend, to hear this big news at around 6 p.m. in the bar or in the lobby. And I go down at 5:30 to level 3 with Anna, my other friend. We're in the lift, we're going down, we're all giggly, hee, let's take some photos. And as I've come out to level 3, the security guard, who we know well, is standing there and he goes, sorry, Steph, it's closed today. You can't come to level 3. And I remember earlier that morning, Winnie, you actually said to me, it's under construction. Was that part of the plan?
Yes, that was absolutely part of the plan, because we didn't know what your schedule was going to be that day and if you were going to go down and go work there or like take some snaps. So we had to think really ahead.
It was crazy. They actually hired a security guard for his private time. He works in our building, but they hired him privately just in case I went down that day to take photos, which I did. And when I saw him, he was like, sorry, you can't be here. He was very assertive. He like shoved me back in the lift pretty much. And I said, oh, okay, no worries. And because Winnie had told me it was shut for construction earlier that morning, I just thought, oh yeah. But in my head, I'm like, what are they constructing? It's constructed. So I went back and said to Anna, let's go to the lobby where the Christmas tree is and take photos near the tree. So we went to the lobby, we're taking photos near the tree, and it's almost 6 p.m. where I'm meant to meet Winnie to hear the big news. And I said to Anna, wait in my apartment, I'll be back, because she wanted to share it with 2 of her closest friends. Winnie then texts me and she said, I'm running late, I'm having trouble with my hair. Can you meet me on level 3? And I'm thinking, okay, maybe she wants to meet us somewhere else because she's not done yet. She's not ready to go to the bar or go out in public. So I head back down to level 3 on my own, and the security guard is there and he's like, oh, and he was acting weird. And I said, oh my God, you're in on this. You're in on this. You know about Winnie's going away. She's hired level 3, hasn't she? She's doing a secret going away party. And he was keeping such a straight face. He was trying, I could tell. And he just looked at me with this stern look and said, Stephanie, I'm working. And it was really funny because he's, trying to see him serious. Anyways, I said, look, she's messaged me, she's in the boardroom. But then the other girl said, oh, I'm near the pool. So I didn't know where to go. Instead of going out of the normal exit of the building, I went out the side exit. And as I'm walking around the side, I don't see anyone. I don't see anything. And then I see my beautiful partner standing on this grass area, all dressed in white, looking handsome as ever, in his beautiful white outfit. Just looked beautiful. And it was a red carpet. There was roses in the shape of a heart behind him, hundreds of candles, and it was the most romantic, beautiful setup I'd ever seen. I was utterly in shock. I realized, I'm like, oh my God, this is the moment. This is the moment. This is the moment. And I just started crying. I took off my bag and I put my phone down, and I just stood there. And you walked down the aisle and you came and got me. I'm looking at him now as I'm telling this story. I was in two minds. I was like, how did he pull this off? I need to know all the goss. But then my other brain was stay in the moment, stay in the moment, stay in the moment. Because if you know me, I know everything. I'm across everything. I'm a bit of a control freak. And I always thought he would have proposed in Bali or Thailand. And the year was coming close, and I thought he'll maybe on my birthday next year. Anyways, there was a photographer, videographer. We walked down the aisle. He got down on one knee and he read this beautiful letter to me, which I haven't brought with me today, but it was about how on our first date, he knew there was something special about me, that I make him a better man. Do you remember what the speech was, honey?
Yeah, you covered most of it.
Did I?
Yeah, you covered most of it.
He's a man of few words, but they're all the right ones. And it was really slow. What I really loved was he really took his time. He really paused. He read the letter. It was so beautiful. And then he got down on one knee and said, will you marry me? And I said, yes, of course. And I was so happy and excited, and people were cheering from the building. And it was just, it didn't feel real. It honestly felt like a dream. I was in shock. I was honestly in shock. People were talking to me and I just, felt I was in another planet. And then my friends were in the bushes taking photos. They were taking photos. They'd recorded it because one of my friends earlier that morning, she has a photography business, and she said, can I borrow your camera, Steph? I want to try some UGC content. I want to record. Can you show me how to use it? And I was like, yeah, you're a photographer, but okay, you should be showing me how to use the camera, but no worries. So I gave her my camera, and it was so she could secretly record the whole moment. And I noticed he had a microphone on him, but unfortunately, for some reason, the receiver dropped out, and all the testing worked. All the test microphone samples worked, but not the actual proposal. But that's okay, because I've got the letter and I remember it so clearly. I've got all the footage, just not the audio, which dropped out. And then, all my girlfriends came out. They were dressed in white. I couldn't believe this was pulled off, and I needed to know how it was done. And then I was saying to Winnie, are you actually going away? She goes, no. So I still didn't believe it. Part of me still thinks you might be leaving me, Winnie. And I said, is the dinner real? And they said, yes, it's your engagement. We're going out for dinner. And then we went to La Luna. We were all wearing white. The girls had got headbands, bride-to-be. I felt really, really special because I never expected such an incredible group around me to have done such an amazing thing for me. And I feel very lucky and blessed, and it was very emotional. But I want to hear from the people behind the scenes. Winnie, I'm going to give you the mic. Can you tell us when you first knew about this proposal and how you guys planned it all, and how you reacted when Will first told you about it?
So I was in the boardroom. So that was the day that you, Willie, and I were working in the boardroom. Yeah. And I was minding my sweet business, and you walked out, and then Will walked out, and then Will came in and he closed the doors, and he's like, Winnie, I need to talk to you. And I was like, fuck. I was like, what have I done? I was like, I'm in trouble. And I full started panicking. And I was like trying to race through my mind. I'm like, have I said something? Have I done something? Like, what's going on? And then he just said it directly. He's like, I'm going to ask Steph to marry me. And I gasped and I couldn't look at him. I turned the other way. I started pinching myself physically because I'm like, get your shit together because she's going to come through the room. And I need to like get back into performer mode, like take that emotion away because it's obviously a surprise. And then we're talking about level 3 and I'm on the body corp, and then Will started telling his vision for the proposal and how he wanted to do it on level 3. And I was like, yep, don't worry, I'm onto it, I'll help you. And so it was hashtag team Steph and Will. I was very privileged to be the assistant.
I cannot believe how calm you were, and yeah, I can't believe you guys secretly planned this. What about you, babe? Tell us when you started to think about proposing and how you came up with this incredible idea, because it was next level. It was absolutely beautiful.
It was probably about 3 months before I proposed that I started looking into ideas, started Googling what can I do. I was just Google searching proposal ideas, proposal locations, proposal companies that might be able to help. I was just doing research, and then I found one company called Unforgettable Proposals, and they're based out of Brisbane. I think they do Melbourne and Sydney as well, and they basically help you through that whole process. They basically style it and everything like that. Yeah, I reached out to Aaron, the owner, and he was amazing from this get-go, and I just chatted through what I wanted. And originally I wasn't going to do it on level 3. Originally I was looking at doing it on the Sunshine Coast in Brisbane. I wanted to go away and then do it there. And there was a few options. There was an Airbnb in the hinterlands that I could have done it at, and they basically hire the Airbnb, and then you basically go out, and then Aaron will come in with his team, and by the time you get back wherever you're from, there'll be the whole setup and stuff like that, which was nice. But the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, I think it'd be nicer if I did it somewhere local, and then we could also have her friends around, because I think it makes it just makes the moment more special. So I was looking originally at Brisbane on a rooftop, and then basically what happens is you hire the location for 2 hours through Unforgettable Proposal, and they've got like an affiliation with certain companies or certain buildings and locations. But I was just thinking, like, how am I going to get her on that rooftop? Because it's just basically a rooftop and there's no restaurant attached to it. There's nothing you can really do apart from just hire the space, and then you got to get the person there. And I'm like, it's going to be so hard to get her there and make a reason to get her up on that roof without giving it away or give her some inkling. So I was on level 3 and I was looking out, and I'm like, why would I do it anywhere else when I've got such a beautiful location here for photos and stuff like that? So that's when I reached out to Winnie. So I was talking to Aaron at that time, but I told him to put it on pause because I just want to see if I can do it at the Langham, and if I can get clearance to do it there, and if I can, then I'd love to do it there. So Winnie came back after a couple of days and said, yep, spoke to everybody, it's all good. We got some emails from higher up the chain that said yes, so confirmed. So yeah, went through Aaron, and his team were amazing. So we spoke through everything. I told him what I wanted. He had on his website, he's got basically the setups and what they look like and so forth, and I went through that and I'm like, this is the one I want, or something very similar. And then yeah, we filled out a couple forms and took all the information that I wanted, chose the song that we wanted to play when you came out, and that's basically it. And then from there, it was along the whole way, Winnie's been amazing. She's been helping me so much. We've been building up a story, we've been playing around with you, and I had a lot of help from a lot of people. I couldn't have done it without them. It was a very special moment.
I love everything about this. And both of you, just take a moment to think, because was there any times where we almost blurted it out, or any funny moments? I know on the day, obviously I almost stuffed it up by going downstairs and then the guy taking the swim. But Winnie, can you share, was there any moments you were nervous, or anything I said, or anything funny that happened along the way?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like sometimes my mouth works faster than my brain. So I was like, do not ruin this for her. Do not ruin this for her. There was so many times. And I think just in our conversations, like occasionally, like, we would talk about like topics of like marriage and things like that. I don't know if you remember, and I had to like actually make a conscious choice to think before I talk. And like, be careful what you say. And yeah, and even like in the morning, because before we go to the gym, I usually walk Bubbles, my dog. And so I knew the song that Will had picked, and I was actually playing that song in my headphones and listening to it. I'm like, today's the day, today's the day. And in my head the whole day, I was like, little does she know, her whole life's about to change. Yeah, but I think this is like a testament to actually how well Will knows you, because like just in our conversations, like he thought about every angle, every part of like your behavior. She's going to want to go down to level 3 to take photos. What are you going to say? How are we going to get her from the Langham Bar into level 3? What are we going to say to her so then she has a reason to dress up? Like, even like having the friends over, I was like, well, this is like your moment. Wouldn't you both like want to go away or just have dinner on your own? And he said, no, like, I think she'd want to have her friends there. And I was like, okay, sure. The idea of wearing white, and in the photos it just looked really amazing. And also like us when we went out to dinner at La Luna or Marta, whatever it's called, just like in that setup, everyone wearing white, it just looked amazing. So I'm really proud of myself that I did blur things out, although I came very close. And that was when you put in the girls group chat about your birthday, and I saw this really sexy picture of you, and I got really excited about your birthday, and I was like, yes, I'm there. And then Will texted me afterwards. He's like, what were you thinking? And I was like, oh fuck, brain fart. I'm like, just tell her that if I'm going to move to LA, it's going to be like a 6-month process, which it probably would be anyway. I got to move my dog, I got to go to the embassy, I have to get a visa, I have to do all these things. So I have never lied so much in my life, and I do pride myself in being an honest person. But it was for a good cause, you know.
When I bumped into you in the lift.
Oh my God. I let unforgettable proposals up, so because our building's quite complicated, so that you can't just get down. They wanted to bring everything through the front door, and I was like, absolutely not. This bitch goes walking during the afternoon, and they were fighting me on it, and I was like, no. I'm like, okay, you got to come through the basement, and we got to pad the lift. And so they had a couple of trolleys full of stuff, because it was a huge setup, like marry me sign, the flowers, like it was just so much stuff. So they went up and down the lift a few times. As they were taking stuff up and I was letting them up, I think I went up to my apartment to grab like my tripod and a few things. And then out of all times, out of all moments, out of all lifts, because we have 4 lifts or 5 lifts, I don't know, the lift that opened was like, you and Will were in it, and I had my makeup on, and I was like, fuck.
What time was that?
That was,
Setting up was like 4:30, I think.
yeah, and I was like, shit. And I just was looking at you thinking, and I'm like hyperventilating. And you're like, where are you going? Because I'd pressed breathe 3, and I was like, Steph knows that I don't have a car. So why the hell would I be going to B3 without her? Because if we do go to B3, it's like, jump in the car to go to the gym. And I was like, I had to think quickly on the spot. I'm like, oh, hang on. When I go to B3, I go to Carmel's, like our mutual friend, Carmel's building, because that's how you access her building. Well, I would in the past. And I'm like, I'm going to speak to her first. And I got out of the lift. And then when I got out of the lift, I bumped into Sam. And then I did let the cat out of the bag with Sam. And then I was just like far out. I was just like, my nervous system was on fire.
Oh my gosh, the pressure. I can't believe that you got the lift padded. You had to get them to the basement. All this stuff, you just don't think about how much goes into it. And I didn't expect a thing. The only thing I thought when you were in the lift and I said, oh, where are you going? You said, oh, I've got to go speak to Carmel. I thought, are you telling her the news before us? That's all I cared about. I was so blindsided in my head. I didn't even notice you came from the basement. Oh yeah, that is, my goodness. And then the guy who went for a swim. Tell us the story, Winnie.
Oh, poor Roger. One of the residents, Roger, he's like maybe in his 70s or 80s. Well, I think we had like 20 minutes till go time. And they were still setting up, and Roger comes out to go for a swim in the pool. At that time, Logan wasn't out near the lifts, because I told Logan, if anyone comes out of the lift, tell them this whole level 3 is in lockdown. Because this is a private moment. This is a private, intimate moment. There's nothing worse than someone coming out in their Rudy Nudies, in their doggies, coming out during that moment. So I just politely went up to Roger and I just put my hand on his shoulder. I'm like, Roger, can you see what's going on here? There's a proposal. One of the residents, they're about to get proposed to today. I'm like, do you remember what that moment was for you 45 years ago? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, look, it's going to happen somewhere between 6 and 6:30. So if you want to go for a swim, do you mind coming after 6:30? And he's like, oh, I'll just come tomorrow. I'm like, are you sure? He's like, yes. I'm like, thank you, Roger. I really appreciate it. We just want to make sure that this is a private, intimate moment for this couple. But if you go back to your apartment, you can have a look through your balcony.
Oh my gosh, because when I came down the first time or second time, there was someone coming out of the sauna. I don't remember who it was, but yeah, it was this guy. What about my family, babe? Who knew, and did you ask my dad for permission, and what happened?
Yeah, so originally I reached out to your sister, Irene. I didn't want to tell too many people. I could have told more people, but I didn't want to. So I wanted to be special. When I proposed, you could tell your family and not everybody knew. But I rang Irene because I was going to pull the pin on it so many times, because I just didn't know if it was going to be enough, if you were going to love it, if you weren't going to love it. I was thinking, shit, it's our building, it's where we live. I don't know if she's going to want it to be somewhere else. So I rang her and just spoke to her about, do you reckon she'll like it? And she said, yeah, she'll love it. I don't see why not. I sent her some photos of the space and what I was thinking. And she's like, yeah, she's going to love it. I spoke to her, and then I said to her, because I think at the moment she's heard your dad's helping her with some work at the market. I said to her, when's a good time to call your dad? Because I want to ask for his permission before I do it. Even though if you said no, I still would have did it. But yeah, and she said, I'll call on Thursday at this time. I'll prank you. I'll ring you actually before, and I'll put him on the phone. So yeah, it was a Thursday morning, I think about 9 a.m. they were setting up, and then she rang me and she said she put your dad on the phone, and I just asked him. I said, on Friday next week I'm going to propose to your daughter, and I just love your permission before I do so.
What did he say?
He was wrapped, and he said, oh, Willie, of course. He was really good about it. He was happy, and he kept it a secret too, because that was my biggest fear, that he was going to go back and tell your mum, and then your mum told somebody else, and then it spiraled out of that. But no, credit to him, he kept his mouth shut. Your sister was good and kept her mouth shut, even though she was messaging me every day, and I was telling her, stop messaging me, you're going to blow it, because if my phone keeps on going off and you see Irene, it's going to be like, well, what's she saying, or why is Irene messaging you? But no, the night couldn't have been any better.
Yeah.
It was honestly incredible, and I feel so lucky and blessed to have such incredible people in my life. And if you want to check out the photos or the videos, it is on my Instagram. I've been spamming. But yeah, massive thank you. And for everyone who's commented on Instagram or Facebook and left beautiful messages, I really appreciate you. We thank you. Thank you so much. And we're very excited to share the next chapter of our journey. If you enjoyed this episode, as always, let me know, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Did you know by taking 2 seconds to leave a rating or a review, you help me get the podcast out to more listeners just like you who could really benefit from the information? I appreciate all your support, and thank you for tuning in.